cinéma, le Paris, demain je serai parti. La gare, Dakar, Bamako, Mopti, y a pas de problème, tout va bien. Aujourd'hui je me marie, j'ai confiance. Amoul, Solo, Gao, l'Algérie, Tunisie, Italie, y a pas de problème. J'aime au Manhattan, fast food, Dakar, Sénégal, cinéma, le Paris, ascenseur pour le ghetto. Il est minuit à Tokyo, il est 5 heures au Mali. Quelle heure est-il au paradis? Il est minuit à Tokyo, il est 5 heures au Mali. Quelle heure est-il au paradis? C'est au Manhattan, fast food, Dakar, Sénégal, la grand-mère à l'hôpital Dantec, tout va bien, Kairek, moi ici, toi là-bas, le visa au consulat numéro 39, y'attend, à l'état civil, déjà l'an 2000, déjà 2000 ans, au Manhattan, fast food, Dakar, Sénégal, cinéma, le Paris, cinéma, le Paris, il est minuit à Tokyo, il est 5 heures au Mali, quelle heure est-il au paradis? Il est minuit à Tokyo, il est 5 heures au Mali, quelle heure est-il au paradis? Dakar, Bamako, Rio de Janeiro, où est le problème, où est la frontière? Entre les murs, se faufiler dans l'ascenseur, ascenseur pour le ghetto, au Manhattan, fast food, Dakar, Sénégal, cinéma, le Paris. Cinéma, le Paris.
Il est maintenant 5 heures.
Okay, hello everyone. I was just testing across the platforms. Unfortunately, we are having the same issues with Substack. So sorry for that, for those on Substack. Okay, so let me remove this. Before we start today's paper, I will just highlight this paper. Let me put my favorite layout, which is this, actually this one. Yeah, so we done a review of this paper. There is a relationship as well because both papers feature Lie groups. So you might want to, as a complementary to the paper that I will be recommending today, also take a look at this one. It's a very interesting paper. and we have it available, the recorded review on our Substack. So just go to our Substack. You should be able to see and go through the notes and also watch the replay. Okay, so that's it. Today's paper, let me pull it. So today we'll be looking at this paper. Just for those of you joining us recently, these sessions are basically aimed at collecting papers that show up on our feeds during the week, during the previous week, and then we select papers, a paper that are interesting for us, and also that we think are interesting for the community members, and then I'll give a highlight of it, why I think it's interesting, and then I might take some questions from our community members, in particular the ones on the audience mode from our Substack paid members. That's it, really. So we are looking today at this paper called Symmetries Here and There, Combined Everywhere Cross-Space Symmetry Composition in Robotics. So we are looking for the application of symmetry in robotics. Disclaimer, I'm not a roboticist. And also, I haven't really digged too much into this paper. I had basically, it's a very short paper. It's about, I believe, 9 pages. So I spent about 45 minutes to an hour just going through it, just to take some, extract some key points of the paper so I can lay it out for you. And then the idea is that you find it interesting enough from what you hear from me, and then go and read it. And who knows, maybe the paper can inspire you if you are looking for applications related to robotics. So in this context of this paper, which is robotics, so robots often exhibit several symmetries at the same time. Some obviously arise from the physical structure of the robot itself, right? For example, a humanoid robot might have 2 arms, right, with corresponding kinematic structure. So a movement performed by one arm might have a symmetry counterpart to the other arm, for the other arm as well, right? So let me give you just an example. In a nutshell, imagine a robot serving 2 drinks at a cocktail party. I'm using this because I've been invited to a cocktail party for the work I know, but I thought this for the purposes of our review here. So the robot might pick one glass with its right arm and another with its left arm. If the glasses and their positions are arranged symmetrically, the motion used, right, by the right arm might have a corresponding reflected motion to the left arm as well. Okay, so other symmetries, of course, also arise from the task. A glass, for example, might rotate or be placed at a different orientation. I think my connection cut off. I hope not. I just need to confirm. No, it's not. Okay, so what I was saying is other symmetries, of course, might arise from the same task. For example, in the case of our cocktail party, a glass might be rotated or placed at a different orientation, while the object of picking it up and serving stays the same, unchanged, invariant, right? So the difficulty is that this paper highlights is that these symmetries are often generally defined on different spaces. So there's a lot of work for the roboticist. If you wanted to design a robot that serves a cocktail, that you have to take into consideration. So you have to build different spaces for your use case. So morphological symmetries, basically, such as interexchanging the left arm with the right arm, naturally act on the robot's configuration space, which represents its joint possible configurations, right? Rotational and task-induced symmetries are often defined in the task space, which might represent quantities, stuff like, and the effector positions, poses or other task relevant variables, depending on what you as a roboticist, you are designing your robot to do. Basically, what this paper argues is that existing methods often exploits these symmetries separately, right? So this is a hard work. As I said, disclaimer, I'm not a roboticist, so I don't really have a knowledge about how these things are implemented in a robotics design construction setting, but I'm just, looking at what the paper is, from my understanding from the paper. So this is a problem, as you can, infer, if you have to exploit these, large amount of symmetry, large collection of symmetry separately, that's a massive hassle. A policy might learn to handle rotated objects, but still fail when the task must be performed with the other arm, right? Another policy might exploit the interchangeability of the arms, but fail when the object appears in a new orientation, right? So basically, the goal of the paper, from what I understand, is how can symmetries be defined on different spaces, be transferred into a common space, and then composed into a mathematically consistent way, so that you have some sort of efficiency. So they basically propose a solution. This is something they call a framework, basically, that they call cross space symmetry composition. The idea is basically to, from what I understand, is to use the robot's forward kinematics map as between configuration space and task space. So the forward kinematics maps a joint configuration to the corresponding task space state, such as end effector position or a particular pose. The framework uses this into two directions. First, it studies when asymmetry can be descended from configuration space to task space. Second, it develops a way to lift continuous symmetry from the task space to the configuration space under a stated set of geometric or kinematic assumptions that one makes, okay? Once the relevant symmetries have then be represented on the same space, the paper examines whether or how these can be composed. So that's basically the core idea. The framework. And again, I said, look at the connection comes back. So I'm sure everyone is listening to me on the channels. Sorry for this. Okay, so I was saying, in respect to the results, what do the experiment show? Again, disclaimer, I need to dig more into the paper, so I'm just looking at the summary of what the results show. So take it with a pinch of salt and take a look at the results. So from what I understand is that policies trained with some of the available symmetry fail when tested on transformations they don't, for example, encode. Likewise, the policy using morphological, rotational, and scaling symmetries performs consistently across all the tested combinations, including stuff like real robot letter drawing and pan grasping. So there is already, looking at this is already a very encouraging result from the paper. Why this is interesting for us, and in this case for robotics, well, first of all, we are very interested in Lie groups, in particular the applications, and we always encourage our community members, to look at different applications of Lie groups, to see how ubiquitous these structures are, not just they are useful in quantum computing, but they are also very useful in machine learning, in geometric deep learning and so on. And applications like this, like robotics, especially when you are designing robots that need to really be autonomous, say in a very remote or hostile environments, like take space or take Mars, for instance. So this is where this stuff become very, very interesting. So symmetry basically provides a useful inductive bias for robotics learning, for the robot learning. Instead of learning every rotated, reflected, rescaled, or arm exchanged version of a task independently, a policy can use the mathematical relationship between these situations. So they analyze the symmetries between these situations. So this makes it much more easier, for the robot to learn, and also less chess baggage. This is a similar situation in the other paper that I was giving you the example of. How traditional deep neural nets, they struggle to distinguish a picture of a cat if you start rotating the stuff around. But if you have symmetry inbuilt, it doesn't matter how you rotate, what angle you rotate a picture of a cat, the model will still identify it as a cat. So this basically shows you the power of symmetry. So in the case of robots, this can reduce the number of demonstrations required and improve generalization to transformations not represented explicitly in the original training data set, right? A demonstration with one arm might help the robot perform the corresponding tasks with the other arm, right? A demonstration at one object orientation might help the robot act when the object is rotated. So a trajectory learned also at one scale might support a uniformly rescaled version of the same task, provided the scaling is genuinely a symmetry of the task being represented. So this is really the essence of this paper. I hope you find it interesting and go and take a look at it. And for those of you who are interested in the applications of Lie groups in robotics, I hope this will be a very interesting starting point for you to go and look at. For those in our bootcamp, like the Group Theory 360 bootcamp, these groups showing up here, like the SO2 or a more higher dimension SON, these are all the type of Lie groups that you will learn with us in the bootcamp. But we also have a specialization on Lie groups with application that also covers these groups. So that's it. That's all. So I hope you like the paper. Go and take a look at it, and feel free to reach out to me to make any comments or anything that you find. And of course, you can also connect with the authors if you find any issues, especially on the mathematical side. There are some things that on the Riemannian side that I had some questions that I will reach out to the authors. Okay, so let me see if there are any questions from the audience. I will start with our audience members on the invite private mode, on the audience mode, whatever they call it on this platform. These are our paid Substack members. Please feel free to type your questions. if you have any. If you don't, then we can end it here. I can go prepare for my cocktail party for the World Cup. Okay, I see. Okay, I see a question. Let's see. Why is lifting a task space symmetry into configuration space difficult? That's a very interesting question. The answer is on the paper, so of course you haven't had the time to look at it. So basically, a redundant, let's say, a redundant robot can reach the same end effector position through several different joint configurations. So forward kinematics does not have a unique inverse. The paper basically resolves this ambiguity, from what I understand, using a horizontal lift, which selects the joint space velocity orthogonal to motions that leave the end effector unchanged. Again, this is my understanding. Of the thing. Take it with a pinch of salt, because I only had 45 minutes to look at it. And then the choice is made with respect to a Riemannian metric on the configuration space, with the paper highlighting the kinematic, the kinetic energy metric as a physically meaningful option. Because under that metric, the selected motion is, from what I understand, the minimum norm joint space velocity that produce the required task space motion. Again, I actually have a question that I will be sending to the authors in respect to their the thing of the this thing to do with the Riemannian metric. So yeah, I'm afraid I might not have a better answer for you. Maybe I can look at email me your question again. I will look at it and dive further into the paper to see if I can answer it perhaps more formally. Okay. Any other questions on YouTube? Any questions on YouTube? Let me check the chat before I go back to the private chat from our Substack members. So when I say Substack members, is the ones that we invite with the private link to join here. Unfortunately, we wanted to make the stream available to our free Substack subscribers as well, but we had a problem streaming through. So as a gesture of appreciation for those who support us, we added the paid Substack members on this on the private audience mode here. They can interact with me individually while respecting their privacy. Okay, so there's no question on YouTube. Let me check again. I see some notification popping up. Okay, another question that I guess if you look at the paper, you might be, yeah, it's understandable. Okay, yeah, you haven't had the time to look at it, so that's okay. You can look at the paper. So the question basically says, why does combining symmetry help robot learning? So basically, as I was saying, it allows the policy to treat rotated, scaled, reflected, or armed swapped version of a task as related cases through the symmetry. This can reduce the number of demonstrations required and improve, obviously, the generality, the generalization of the robot in terms of unseen task variation, basically. So this is again the useful, similar to the, if you look at the previous review of the paper when I was giving the example of the cat, why the existing deep neural networks, traditional deep neural networks struggle with, classifying cat pictures, when you start rotating pictures around. Yeah, so basically the same thing here is that, you are leveraging the symmetry to help your learning. Basically, you are discarding unnecessary information, that you need to make the learning process as efficient and effective as possible for the thing, for the task at hand. In this case, we are dealing with the robots. Okay, YouTube. Let's see. Any questions from YouTube? I have there's more questions popping up. I'm not sure if I can answer all of them. I see some of them are very technical. I'm still probably haven't looked at the paper in depth to be able to give an answer, but I can give from just the walkthrough that I did on the paper. Hopefully, I can give you something, an answer, or at least a direction. YouTube and LinkedIn. No, okay. So I'll look at again now. What do they? Okay, so the first technical question. This is the lifted symmetry unique? This is a question. This is where I have the question that I need to answer, ask first to the authors in respect to the Riemannian metric. So I believe the thing is that only after the Riemannian metric and its associated horizontal distributions have been fixed, okay, a different metric might select a different horizontal lift. So the construction is canonical only, is natural only, to relative to those modeling choices, right? Your choice of metric. This is one of the things that I have to email the authors to try to find out. And you can also look at the paper and let me know. Okay, another technical question. Does a horizontal lift always produce a global group action? Okay, you can see this question here. You have a good understanding of group actions. So yeah, thanks for the question. Again, I'm going to refer that. My impression is not necessarily, not automatically. I believe this is one of the reasons. It's also related to the other question that I need to maybe look at the paper a little bit more, because it's a very compact paper with a lot of assumptions and like a lot of implicit assumptions that one has to decode, that the authors didn't spell it out. But I believe the lifted vector fields must be sufficiently regular and complete, and their flows, their corresponding flows, must preserve the required relationship with the task space flows. Stuff like singularity, joint limits, or non-complete flows might possibly restrict the construction to only some sort of a local region. This is basically just on the fly thinking about this. But I need to get in touch with the authors, or maybe have another pass of the thing of the paper. But yeah, thanks for the question. It's very technical. You know your group and representation theory. YouTube, any questions? Or LinkedIn? I'm trying to give you a chance. So we're not just our paid sub. Okay, I see chats on the YouTube. Let's see. Okay, have you seen any notable work with biological neuromorphic implementations such as brain organoids in robotics? No, I haven't. But you can send me some references, on the thing on this, and maybe I can do another review for looking for papers that apply Lie groups into these topics. Yeah, but the short answer is no. But all I can say is that symmetry is present, in nature. So anything really. This is one of the reasons why physicists love symmetry, right? The standard model of particle physics. It's all like group theory and the representations, really. So this seems to be the language of nature. So I wouldn't be surprised, even in biological systems, to have these things show up there. And in fact, one of the reasons we think that a lot of these mathematical structures are not being exploited is possibly because of the barrier. Because traditionally, these topics like Lie groups, representations, and they require a decent amount of graduate level mathematics that a lot of people coming from other sciences, non-physics oriented topics might struggle. This is one of the motivations that we created QF Academy, is really to make it easy for other, because we think these more people, more researchers in other fields, not just theoretical or mathematical physicists, should be aware of these tools. Okay, let's see. Do we have another question? Oh gosh, another technical question. Yeah, but it's okay. Again, I will repeat myself that I will probably have to get back to you again after I dive into the paper, or get a response from the authors, because there are quite a few things that I myself I have doubts, especially on the Riemannian side of things. For instance, I have a few questions on that. So this question is asking: is equivariance of forward kinematics enough for a symmetry to descend? Okay, so I didn't actually on this review, obviously, due to time, and also I want you to go and go and read the paper. I didn't go through the details of how this stuff, the methods, itself works. You can look at that on the thing on the paper yourself. So, but to answer to your question, I think it must be enough on the reachable task space image when the configuration space action actually no. Okay, I'll get back to you on this. I'll get back to you on this because it's very, 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 very interesting question, and I don't want to give a wrong, just on the fly, just a wrong answer that I have to, record another video to come up, because this is a very, very technical thing that I need to look at their method on the thing, their construction, to be able to respond this. I cannot do this on the fly. Yeah. But my looking at the hunch is probably yes, I think. Okay, on YouTube or LinkedIn. Okay, well, if you don't have any more questions, I don't see any questions on the Substack for our Substack members on the audience mode. Final chance for those on LinkedIn or YouTube, if you have, if not, and also for our members of Substack. There's another technical question here that I would need to dig deeper. I will follow up with you on email because I know you. So the question asks, why direct and semi-direct products both needed? Yeah, so to answer to this, I think I would need to answer this formally, looking at their construction, and then send you. I'll do that, using LaTeX. It's much more easier than spelling it out. But my first impression is that the direct product applies in this context when the symmetry actions commute, I think. Whereas the semi-direct product applies when they do not commute, but perhaps one group possibly acts on the other by automorphisms. Again, take it with a pinch of salt. But thank you for the questions. I like the very technical questions because they are challenging as well, especially for like after you have like 45 minutes digesting something, and a lot of the some of the technical questions require diving deeper into the thing, into the paper, to look at the thing, the specifics. Yeah, I only done like some general pass of it, just look at the thing. Yeah, but there are some other things that are implicit. The authors themselves don't, but it's once you know a Lee group, Lee theory, you can see what they are trying to do. But still, it's important to ask them whether this is what they meant, whatever the stuff, or whether there's some sort of a misunderstanding or something. Uh, okay. Any more questions on YouTube or LinkedIn? Or as a matter of fact, on our private mode for our paid Substack members? Well, if not, yeah, I'll just say, thank you so much again for showing up. These sessions are meant to be short, maximum 45 minutes, so, next Sunday I will be back again. Just follow our LinkedIn, YouTube, and subscribe to our Substack. We always announce the thing, advertise, the next session, and you can also watch the recording of this session in high definition on Substack. Um, just a note on this, because some people have been asking, why don't we upload the recordings for this on YouTube, since it's streaming on YouTube as well? Well, the reason for that is because YouTube runs ads. And the truth is, we cannot control what sort of ads YouTube will run on our content, and there are many type of ads that are not aligned with us. Like scammers, running crypto advertisements and these type of stuff. Like anti-science stuff. All these stuff. So putting our content on YouTube and not being able to control what sort of ads run on our content is not nice. So that's one of the reasons that we decided to post recorded stuff of our content on Substack, because there's no ads running there. So just visit our Substack if you haven't already. For example, the previous the other papers review, the first paper, discovering symmetry groups with flow matching. This is something that we already have the HD recording. So just go to our Substack and you should be able to see the review there. Okay. So yeah, so that's it from me. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy. For those who are football fans, I hope you enjoy the footy. I'm definitely looking forward for the cocktail party that I've been invited for the final. So yeah, I'll see you next week, and thank you. Have a great day wherever you are.